talk about a contentious and highly controversial topic that's also really personal and that I've been really avoiding. Yeah. So I'm going to say right now, if you have anything to say and any comments, you're more than welcome to put them in the bottom. Just try to wait until the end. The reason I've been avoiding this is because when I have said this out loud to other people in the past, I've lost a lot. And it's been difficult for me to say it because my whole channel is about pushing through, being resilient, dealing with your stuff, your grief, your heartache, your disappointments, your depression, whatever you're struggling with, to deal with that in a really healthy manner so that you can then move on and live in joy. That's what the Dandelion Way is. It's a highly individual journey. I respect the individual and I respect the choices that they need to make for their life and what they believe needs to happen in it to move them forward in a way that allows them to bring the very best of themselves out to contribute that to society. I was a teacher, I've said that before, and I can't go back. Even if I could physically go back, which I think I could even part-time, I will never go back. And it's because I'm highly, highly uncomfortable right now as, yes, an unvaccinated person and professional with 7 years of post-secondary school entering into education again. I can't do it. I want to, because it would certainly be easier to pay the bills, but I can't do it. And I can't do it because there's so much divisiveness still. It does not seem to matter how much information comes out, how much medical relevant studies are being done in other places in the world that don't have an interest in propping up the pharmaceutical companies in North America. But we're not getting all of the information here locally with our legacy news. And I hate to sound like that conspiracy theorist because I know several of you have already shut this off because you don't want to hear it. But my whole point is, why don't you want to hear it? I can hear from you. We can have this talk. I lost 2 dear doctor friends of mine, not because I wouldn't get vaccinated, but because I asked why I needed it. You see, I was just moved onto an acreage. I was completely isolated. I worked from home and I had one young son. We both had COVID twice in 18 months and we were both fine. I knew we didn't need it to protect myself. I knew how I could protect other people, like I could protect them with other things. And I wasn't in the community. I just moved there. I didn't know anybody. So I was not really high risk. And when you look at actually, I don't really want to go into all of it. The point was, even though I have always been a little left-leaning of center because of this one personal choice, lost a ton of friends, lost community, lost the ability to work, had to sell my acreage. I now rent. And I'm now looking for ways to be completely independent because it's very difficult for me to move into a world that I don't know is yet ready to be open, is ready to welcome people who question things, think differently, and are very critically thinking. And I'm sorry to say, that's all I was. I'm not a person to shun community in order to protect myself, but I'm also not the kind of parent to put my child or myself at risk because I'm the only parent he has, because somebody tells me to. I'm going to do my due diligence and I'm going to research. That's the type of person that I am. So I didn't outright refuse the vaccine. I simply delayed getting it to get more information. The problem, of course, being that the more information I got, the more I knew I didn't need it, didn't want it. And I hate to point out, but all of those really difficult conversations where I was asking those questions, they were valid questions. They were questions that eventually did get answers to. And I was right not to get the vaccine. for me and my son. Now, that doesn't mean that I impose that on anybody else's choices, because my whole point is we're individuals. We need to be able to make choices for our individual journeys as we move forward. But I'm not really happy with the leadership that we have had that has added this divisiveness into a society. People who knew me for years knew exactly who I was, dropped me like a hot potato, or argued with me simply because I asked a question. And when this same phrase gets used by more than 2 or 3 people, I will not discuss the science with you, you know you're simply being stonewalled because they don't know what else to tell you. It's not an authentic conversation. They're giving you a line that's been fed to them to give to somebody else who's simply not a complacent person. And that's all that this was. I'm not out there to constantly pick a fight. That's not who I am. I actually want connection like everybody else. And I found it a very difficult decision to make to go against the thread of society, and yet my inner integrity wouldn't allow me to make any other choice. But for that, I was literally stopped by strangers in the street who felt it necessary to lecture me for decorating a truck in support of the trucker movement, who basically were supporting freedom of choice and who were trying to help people like me educate other people so that I could freaking get to work and keep my home. I'm not bitter because I take these moments and I know that they're for a greater good, and I just take my lumps and know somewhere down the line I'll understand why, which is what happened. And I'm hoping that part of the why is that I can find more people like me who are more interested in building bridges than taking them down, who are okay saying, you know what, I think we could have done better here. I think I could have done better here. I think I could have had this conversation better. I think I could have respected your choices more. I'm much more okay with people who are all right being human and understanding, look, I'm not okay with name calling. I'm not okay if you're calling people woke. I'm not okay if you're calling them a right-wing nut job. I'm not okay with calling people conspiracy theorists, because quite frankly, I have been called I don't know how many names, and none of them truly apply. And most of them called to me by perfect strangers, people who don't know me. It's not okay to go on and preach about goodness if you can't admit that on occasion you fuck up, but you're trying to be good. You can't be good by telling other people what to do if you can't follow your own advice. It is time, as many people around the world are doing, to work together, to find your tribe that wants to do great and good things in the world and move toward that. And I'm not talking about getting a group so you can fight this group. Because if you're going to exclude members who genuinely want to do what you want to do, who genuinely want to make the world a better place, that's not inclusivity. I also believe we have an identity problem around here. You know, identities are formed in our early 20s. And the backbone of that identity is understanding for yourself what is right and what is wrong for you, not letting anybody else tell you what you're supposed to think. That doesn't mean we have to be tolerant of everything. That means there's going to be yeses and there's going to be nos. Yes, it varies on an individual level, and to a point we have to accept that. But that's why we have boundaries, because if your yes is my no, I say, okay, I respect that. You live the way that you want to live, but I'm going to live this way. That's not what happened. My no became your yes, and you tried to force it on me. That's happening everywhere with a lot of different topics. And that's not okay. Boundaries and walls exist for a very good reason, so that we can respect each other's individuality and need to move differently through the journey. And what's the point? Is to move through the journey to become the very best person you can possibly bring into the community. You are not going to get the best of me if you were calling me a misogynist racist who was fringe and shouldn't be allowed to participate in a society, when it turned out actually my immune system meant that I actually should have been the one most participating in the society for the health and safety of others. We made mistakes. It is time to apologize. It is time to accept that people need some validation. And folks, if you don't get it, then those are not your people and it's time to move on. I know. I've been there. Let's find our tribes. Let's walk our journeys. Let's respect that other people need to walk theirs. Put those boundaries up where we know goodness, beauty, truth need to be, and move forward. It's time, and it's exciting times. Look at Sweden. Sweden just had a complete, it's almost a coup, really. They started a brand new political party of grassroots, everyday folk, farmers, and those that supported them. They got together, they organized, and they not only won the government, they not only won the election, but they won it by a landslide, by a majority. A brand new party, a party that is about doing what's right, what follows the facts, and what's good for their people and preserves their integrity as a culture. This is great. This means that your vote can count, that your organization does matter, that if you just get off your butt and stop letting other people rule your life for you, you can be healthy, wealthy, and free. You can bring your best self to the table. Now, why wouldn't you want that? I'm here to make connection. Who's here for me? And how can we start doing this at the local level here? I know there are other groups, but I'm just wondering, if you don't have one, let's just open up the discussion. Are there ones we can join? Are there ones we can start? But where do you want to go? I want to get to the point where we're not name calling anybody. We're not putting anybody in any boxes. We're simply making decisions, asking really good questions about what we need to move forward. And we're doing the job and we're moving forward. And we're doing it without corruption and manipulation and obfuscation. Because holy man, all you have to do is watch CPAC for 15 minutes before you want to blow your top. They're not doing the job for us. It's time that we did. If you're a dandelion, write it down below. And if you resonated with this, subscribe, hit the bell, the button, the buzzer, throw an arrow at it, whatever you makes the algorithms and YouTube happy. That would be great. And we'll see you more for the Dandelion Way.